Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In the series of pattern printing, so far we have seen so many patterns. In this video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So if you could carefully observe this pattern, we have a specific alphabet which is A in this case coming in this diagonal way, this alphabet B coming this diagonal way. Like that, the alphabets are keeps increasing this diagonal way, and also this particular pattern is having the highest numbers in the first row and keeps coming to the new rows. The alphabets, number of alphabets are keeps reducing. At the end of this particular row, we have got only one alphabet. So like that, this specific alphabet pattern having in this specific shape and positions of alphabets. So let us go ahead and see how we can actually print this particular alphabet pattern. So in order to print, I will take a variable rows and I will assign the value as 5, because if you observe carefully this pattern, we have 5 rows, right? Row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. Like that, we have 5 rows. So apart from that, we are also having these particular spaces here before this particular pattern, right? So for that reason, we need to print spaces to get the exact pattern. So to keep track of these spaces, I will use a variable which is spaces, and I will assign the spaces value as 0, because in the first row we don't have any spaces before these particular alphabets. So later what I will be doing is that in order to keep track of these alphabets, I will take a variable alpha and I will assign the alphabet which is having a in this case. So the thing we need to realize is that we cannot directly keep track of these alphabets directly with alphabets. So because of that reason, what we need to do is that we need to convert these alphabets to its equivalent integer numbers and keep track of them. So in order to convert alphabets to integers, we have specific code encoding formatting which is ASCII codes. So if you don't know about ASCII codes and how to convert these alphabets to its equivalent integer numbers, watch my first video about alphabets pattern printing, where I have explained clearly all these things. So in this video, we will be seeing what is necessary to print the pattern. So first, in order to do that, I will convert this particular alphabets to its equivalent integer numbers by using a specific method in Python, which is ORD. So I am using this ORD method which is responsible to convert this character into its equivalent integer number. So that is what I am doing here, and I am assigning this to alpha. So later, in order to generate this many number of rows here, I will use a for loop. So for I in range, so now we will be generating the range of values, and the range of values we will be generating based on this particular pattern is that in first row we have four values. In the second row we have first row we have five values. In the second row we have four values. Like that, the values are keep reducing, starting with 5 and going till the value 1. Right. So for that reason, I will start this range with 5, which is the value which is having inside of this particular rows. Right. So we need to go till the value of 1. So for that reason, I am mentioning 0. By the functionality of this range, we will be stopped at the value of 1 itself. So these are reducing, right? So for that reason, I am mentioning -1, so that the value will keep reduced by -1. So after that, at the end, I am mentioning colon, and inside of this for loop, I will be printing the value of I, so that we can know what values we have got here. So now if I execute this, we have got the expected values which are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now what we need to do is that we need to use these values of I to generate all these particular alphabets here. So in order to do that, you can compare this pattern of alphabets with this particular I here. So in the first row, you can compare this particular alphabet, these particular values in every single row. This is one row, this is one row, this is one row. Like that, these are having 5 rows. So in the first row, we have got 5, and in the first row in the pattern, we have got 5 alphabets. In the second row, we have got 4. In this particular pattern, we have got 4 alphabets. Like that, you can compare these I values with this particular pattern in order to generate those many number of alphabets. So having said that, we have got in every single row a specific alphabets, a specific number of alphabets. For that reason, what I will be doing is that as those are repeated, I will use one more for loop inside of this for loop for j in range. So now we will be generating the range of values. So as we have discussed, the range of values should be start with 1 and go till the value of I plus 1, because by using this I value only we are building this pattern. So for that reason I am mentioning I plus 1. So inside of this particular pattern, inside of this particular for loop, what I will be doing is that instead of printing the value I will print the value alpha. So in this alpha, we only have the integer numbers. So to convert that integer numbers to equivalent character, what I will be doing is that I will use a specific method in Python, which is chr. So chr method is responsible to convert this particular integer values to its equivalent alphabets. So for that reason only I am mentioning CHR. So in order to get the exact position of exact pattern here, what I will be doing is that I will mention an end with a single space. By default, this end is having a new line character so that we will get everything in a new line. So in order to not to get everything in a new line, in order to get everything in a single line, I am mentioning this end. So after that, what I will be doing is that as and when we complete this particular inner for loop, I will use a print in order to get a new line. So by default, we have this end which gives a new line. So now if I execute this, we can able to get this kind of pattern. So now I hope you can able to understand this logic to generate this kind of pattern. So I think you have some confusion why I am using here this end, why I am using this here to generate a new line character. So if you got any confusion, watch my previous videos, any videos about numbers pattern printing, where I have explained more clearly about how we need to mention this particular formatting here. So now we have got this shape that is not what we wanted. In order to get this particular shape, what we need to do is that we will convert this a little bit and we will print the spaces before actually printing the alphabets. So for that reason, as and when we enter into this outer for loop, we need to print those spaces. So for that reason, I am mentioning a space and I am multiplying this with the spaces variable, which is what we are using in order to keep track of the spaces, right? So for that reason I am mentioning spaces, and in the end I am mentioning. So by default end is having new line character, so I am replacing with nothing so that we don't get a new line. So after that you can observe in this pattern the spaces are keeps increasing, right? So in every single new row the spaces are increased by 1. So for that reason I am increasing those spaces by 1 here, spaces plus equal to 1. So now if I execute this, we can able to get this alpha A in a specific positions here. So now what we need to do is that in order to generate this exact pattern, we need to change this code a little bit to get the exact pattern. So that is, we need to initialize this particular alpha inside of this outer for loop in order to get this. So this inner for loop is responsible to generate every single row values here, every single row alphabets here. So this inner for loop needs to start with the alpha A. So for that reason, we need to initialize this particular alpha inside of this outer for loop, so that this inner for loop will take this alpha from A and it will keep printing the values. So for that reason only I am mentioning alpha inside of this outer for loop. I hope you can able to understand why I am mentioning this alpha inside of the outer for loop. So after that, what I will be doing is that I will increase the value of alpha in order to get B after A, C after B. So for that reason, I am mentioning alpha plus equal to 1. So now if I execute this, we can able to get the exact pattern. That is what we have in here, right? So you can compare and you can confirm that. So now what we will be doing is that we will take these particular rows dynamically input from the user. So for that reason I am mentioning int input. I am asking user to enter rows here. So now if I execute this, it was asking me to enter rows. Let's say I will give the value 3 here. So we can able to get this kind of pattern. That is what we can expect with the value 3. So let's say if I give the value 9 here, so still we can able to get the pattern which is what we can expect with 9, right? So Now I hope you can able to understand this logic to generate this kind of a pattern by any number given by the user. So if you found any difficulty while understanding this logic, I sincerely suggest you to watch the video once again carefully so that you can understand the logic clearly. And also to get more familiarity with this kind of a patterns and formatting this kind of a patterns with this shape, watch my any numbers video pattern printings so that you can able to understand more clearly about this formatting. So thank you for watching this video. In the next video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So this particular pattern coming completely to the right side, right? So now I hope you can able to understand this pattern. In the next video, we will see how we can print. So to stay updated with my latest videos, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications to all so that whenever I upload any video, you will get the notification. So thank you for watching this video. If you found this video interesting, hit the like button. See you in the next one.